Scorpio, something extraordinary is about to unfold in your life. Good luck is not just coming, it's already waiting for you, quietly standing at the threshold of your destiny, preparing to unlock a door you didn't even know was there. Have you felt it lately? That low hum beneath the surface of your routine. That quiet restlessness in your soul. That sense that something sacred is shifting but you can't quite put it into words. That's not coincidence. That's divine timing. That's alignment. That's the whisper of the universe, gently tugging at your energy field, letting you know, it's your time. And if you're here, right now, watching this video, it's not by mistake. You were called. Not by me. Not by the algorithm. But by something greater, by spirit, to receive this message at the exact moment when your soul is most ready to hear it. I want to speak directly to the part of you that feels tired from holding everything together. The part of you that's been waiting for clarity, aching for breakthrough, hoping for a sign. Well, this is it. There are three energies circling your space right now: a fated turning point, a truth long hidden but ready to be revealed, and a sacred invitation your higher self has already accepted. Even if your mind doesn't know it yet, your spirit does. And yes, it may come suddenly. Yes, it may look like something falling apart. But don't mistake the collapse for punishment. What looks like a breakdown is actually your breakthrough in disguise. Pluto, your ruling planet, is activating a rare transformational window. This isn't a gentle phase. It's a complete energetic reset. One that asks you to surrender control, trust the process, and let go of the structures that no longer serve your soul's evolution. If you've been feeling like something deep inside you is shifting, even if you can't explain it, comment below right now and write, "I feel the shift." Your words carry power. They help you anchor this energy into your reality. This video is not a prediction, it's a preparation. I'm not here to tell you who you'll meet or what you'll receive. I'm here to help you recognize the doorway, so you'll have the courage to walk through it when it opens. You are entering a sacred threshold. You are standing in a divine hallway between the old version of you, the one who carried everything silently, and the new version who is ready to receive with open hands and an awakened heart. Let me pause for a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every like, every comment you lovingly share, every subscription helps this channel grow and allows us to continue bringing transformative messages like this to more souls in need. You are part of this mission. Your energy is felt. Your support is holy. And believe me, Scorpio, you will want to stay with me until the very end of this reading, because what the universe is revealing for you today is breathtaking. There is a divine orchestration happening behind the scenes. One that connects your spiritual growth, your emotional healing, and your real-world blessings in ways your mind may not yet understand, but your soul already knows. Now take a deep breath. Allow yourself to settle. What you're about to receive is more than a message. It's a sacred transmission meant only for you. Let's begin. Scorpio, what you're entering now is not simply a change. It's an initiation. As we transition from the stillness of sensing into the revelation of what's truly unfolding, you're being called to understand that the chaos you've been feeling is not destruction, it's preparation. And in this moment, I want to guide you gently but truthfully into the energetic meaning of what the Tower card represents in your path, because it holds a frequency that very few are prepared for, but you are. The Tower appears in your reading not to punish, but to illuminate what has become too heavy to carry, too false to live with, too old to grow from. This card is often feared in traditional interpretations, but in reality, it is one of the most sacred invitations into freedom. When lightning strikes the tower, it does not ask for permission. It removes what no longer serves with divine precision. And yes, at first, it looks like loss. But this, dear Scorpio, is not loss, it is sacred clearing. Imagine standing in a garden you've tended for years. At first glance, everything seems lush, familiar. But beneath the surface, roots have begun to rot, the soil is exhausted, and certain plants have grown tangled, choking out the light. Then, one storm comes. It floods the ground, knocks down the dead branches, forces you indoors. And when the skies clear, you step outside to see that what's left is exactly what's needed for something new to flourish. This is the tower. This is where you are. This is what you're being called to understand, not with fear, but with reverence. Astrologically, this energy is amplified for you right now because Pluto, your ruling planet, is in motion. Pluto doesn't play on the surface. It pulls from the deep. It governs all things hidden, emotional patterns, unconscious fears, generational wounds. When it activates in your kartas, it brings things to the surface that have been buried long before you knew their names. Pluto doesn't destroy. Pluto resurrects. But to resurrect, something must first be returned to dust. You may be feeling like the ground is shaking beneath your feet. Relationships shifting. Priorities changing. Maybe something you thought would be permanent suddenly crumbles. That is not your punishment. That is your portal. That's what I mean when I say a shocking event will open the door to your destiny. It isn't about doom. It's about divine realignment. And yes, it can feel overwhelming. But please hear me when I say this. The most powerful breakthroughs often come wrapped in discomfort. This is where healing meets purpose. It's where endings are actually beginnings in disguise. And as someone who walks deeply in this work, not just with stars and cards, but with the Suli, want to affirm something very simple. You are not being broken. You are being rebuilt. In sacred texts, we're reminded, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. That's from John 12 verse 24, and while it's speaking about spiritual sacrifice, the energetic truth applies beautifully here. Something in you is ready to fall away, so that something greater may rise. The dreams you thought had died? They weren't dead. They were planted. And now they are being watered, by storm and by grace. So I ask you gently, but directly, have you been resisting a necessary collapse? Have you been trying to hold together something that's already spiritually complete? If so, take this moment to surrender. Not to failure, but to transformation. And if this resonates with you, if you know deep down you're in the middle of this shift, I want you to claim it. Type in the comments right now, I accept the breakdown as my breakthrough. I choose to rise from the ashes. Because when you claim it, you're no longer hiding from your evolution. You're partnering with it. And that, dear Scorpio, is the beginning of everything new. After experiencing the intense awakening energy of the tower, the divine reset that cleared your emotional and spiritual path, you now stand at a threshold where balance, justice, and long-awaited blessings begin to flow back toward you. And Scorpio, this part of the journey is not just about healing. It's about restoration. It's about reclaiming what was once taken, withheld, or delayed, and allowing life to finally meet you with the fairness you've long deserved. The appearance of the Justice card in your reading marks a pivotal moment of energetic alignment. You may not have seen the return of what you've given yet, but know this: energy never disappears. Every sacrifice you've made, every act of kindness you offered in silence, every boundary you held with tears in your eyes, they were all recorded in the sacred ledger of the universe. Now, the scales begin to tip in your favor. This is not about revenge. It's not about punishment. It's about balance. It's about setting things right on an energetic level so that your life can flow in harmony with who you truly are. Justice does not always come in the form of a court ruling or an apology. Sometimes it shows up as a breakthrough in your finances. Sometimes it whispers through an unexpected opportunity. And sometimes, it's as quiet as peace finally returning to your heart after years of internal tension. If someone wronged you, misused your trust, or benefited from your silence, let go of the need to prove anything. What they set in motion will return to them in divine timing, and what you've endured is already turning into your elevation. The star confirms it. This card doesn't shout. It glows. It's the moment after the storm when you look up and, for the first time in a long while, believe again. A wish you once made, perhaps in a moment of solitude, perhaps when no one else was watching, is being heard. It may not arrive in the way you expect, but the energy behind it is already unfolding. The star brings emotional renewal, hope reborn, and light at the end of a tunnel you forgot you were walking through. Financially, things are shifting. Not in a small way, in a karmic way. Some of you may receive money that was long delayed. This might come from a forgotten check, a legal matter, a family estate, or even something as random as a lottery ticket or tax return that lands at just the right moment. But for many of you, it's not just about money, it's about what money represents: validation, relief, autonomy, and support. The presence of key numerological energies is no coincidence. The number 8 governs karmic justice and abundance. When it begins appearing around you in receipts, time stamps, phone numbers, it's a spiritual signal that your financial frequency is recalibrating. The number 11 is an intuitive gate, opening you to divine insight and guiding you to make decisions not from fear, but from inner knowing. And 22 is the master builder, a sacred number of manifestation, reminding you that you're not just dreaming your purpose. You're meant to live it. If these numbers have been showing up in your life on clocks, license plates, invoices, write it down in the comments. Say it out loud. I receive divine financial balance. Why? Because when you say it, you shift it. You're not waiting anymore. You're co-creating. This is also your moment to become more conscious about how you handle what comes to you. Emotional spending may have been a coping mechanism, no shame in that. But now, let's move with intention. Spend on what builds you. Invest in what aligns with your values. Nourish your mind with knowledge, your body with care, your future with vision. Remember, the return isn't just material. It's energetic. This is the universe telling you, you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not behind. You are right on time, and everything you thought had passed you by is actually circling back, just in a better form than you originally asked for. And that's not luck. That's justice. That's alignment. That's you, Scorpio, stepping into your power, one rebalanced blessing at a time. After moments of chaos and karmic balancing, Scorpio, the space is finally opening within you for something softer, something sacred. Love. But not the kind you've been conditioned to chase or settle for. What's approaching now is something deeper than desire, more enduring than passion, and more intimate than surface attraction. This is soul-aligned connection. The kind of love that doesn't just light a fire, but heals old scars with its warmth. The appearance of the Ace of Cups, the Lovers, and Knight of Cups in your reading is no accident. It signals the awakening of your heart center after a long emotional winter. The Ace of Cups is the overflowing of new emotional energy, often surprising, sometimes subtle, but always significant. It's the gentle awareness that something or someone is stirring your spirit, perhaps even before you realize it. The Lovers doesn't just speak of romance, but of divine choice. Not obligation. Not convenience. But resonance. Alignment. A meeting of energies that recognizes the sacredness of the other. And the Knight of Cups? He's the messenger of emotional truth. Someone is carrying a message for you, not in words, but in the way they see you beneath your masks. You may already sense this. Perhaps someone in your orbit has been showing up with quiet consistency. Or maybe you've been having dreams, revisiting memories, or feeling a strange familiarity in the presence of someone you barely know. This isn't imagination. It's intuition. Love often whispers before it speaks. Pay attention to who makes you feel safe, seen, and unhurried. That's where your heart is being led. But before you reach out to receive that love, I want to gently ask, have you made room for it? Because often, we carry outdated expectations or old wounds into new chapters and wonder why we feel stuck. The invitation now is not just to fall in love, but to fall back into alignment with your own heart. To forgive the one who didn't stay. To release the version of you that accepted less. To let go of timelines and standards that were never yours to begin with. This is where self-love becomes a spiritual practice. Not a hashtag. Not a bath and a candle. But a quiet, radical decision to choose yourself every single day. Not in a way that excludes others, but in a way that finally includes you. And this matters, because the love coming toward you isn't here to complete you, it's here to meet you where you've already chosen to heal. And real love can only land where there is space to receive it. You may be wondering, why now? Why love, after everything else? Because Scorpio, you were never meant to stay in survival mode. You were born to feel deeply, to connect fiercely, and to experience intimacy not as a threat but as a mirror. You've spent enough time trying to protect yourself from being seen. Now, you're ready to be known. In energy healing, the heart chakra is the bridge between your physical and spiritual body. When it's open, we don't just attract relationships, we attract relationships that reflect our growth. The color gold has been showing strongly in your energetic field for days now. Gold is the frequency of divine connection. It represents spiritual confidence, healing receptivity, and the courage to receive without fear. Wearing gold, meditating with gold-toned stones, or visualizing golden light entering your chest can help reopen the parts of your heart that closed during heartbreak. You're not being asked to rush, just to allow. And if you've been dreaming of someone, or noticing a soft but persistent connection growing, I invite you to acknowledge it. You can write in the comments, "I am ready to open my heart to destined love." There is power in saying it aloud, in owning your readiness, in releasing the fear that love will hurt you again. Because when it's aligned, love doesn't wound. It repairs. And it doesn't rush. It waits for readiness. And you, Scorpio, are becoming ready in ways you can feel in your bones. Let this be your gentle return to softness. You've earned it. As we gently move beyond love and soul connection, Scorpio, we enter a space within you that is far more sacred and longed for than anything material or romantic. It is the space of spiritual recovery, of inner quiet, of learning how to believe again, not just in people or timing, but in your own ability to rise. After the tower has fallen, after justice has been restored and love has awakened your heart, there comes a moment of stillness that feels almost unfamiliar. But it is in this silence, this pause, where true healing begins to take root. Healing, in its deepest form, is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is subtle, consistent, and often invisible to the outside world. For many Scorpios, this phase can feel empty at first, as if you're no longer who you used to be, but not yet sure who you're becoming. And yet, this in-between is the holiest ground. It's where your soul catches up to your story. It's where restoration starts from the inside out. Emotionally, you may still be carrying residues of past disappointments, deep fatigue, or the echoes of grief that haven't been fully processed. Your nervous system, especially in highly intuitive and energetically sensitive signs like Scorpio, holds on to trauma longer than you realize. That's why during times of major spiritual recalibration, your body also needs to be supported. I often tell my clients, spiritual evolution demands physical tenderness. Simple practices like reducing caffeine, hydrating more intentionally, and replenishing essential nutrients like B-complex vitamins and zinc can ease the weight you've been carrying invisibly. These small but powerful steps help your system move from survival mode into a state of safety and receptivity. But healing isn't just physical or emotional, it's also energetic. Your frequency is recalibrating now, and it's asking for new rituals to support your restoration. One of the most transformative yet gentle tools I recommend during this phase is gratitude journaling. Not as a trendy practice, but as a sacred discipline. Each morning, or each night before bed, take 5 minutes to write down 3 things, however small, that you are grateful for. This practice doesn't change your circumstances overnight, but it changes the lens through which your soul sees the world. Gratitude softens resistance, dissolves despair, and opens up pathways for peace. Equally powerful is carving out a daily moment of stillness. No phone. No noise. Just silence. Whether it's 5 minutes of deep breathing, a walk without distraction, or simply sitting by a window with your hand over your heart, this is how you return to your own center. In a world that never stops demanding your attention, your greatest rebellion is to give that attention back to yourself. When you allow yourself to pause in this way, Scorpio, you make space for integration, for reflection, for reconnection to what matters most. And most importantly, you remind yourself that your value was never based on productivity, performance, or perfection. Your worth is rooted in your being. And it's being restored now. I want you to know that no matter how isolated you felt on this journey, you are not alone. Others have walked this valley before you. Others are walking it with you now even if you can't see them. And perhaps your story, your courage, your small moments of overcoming, could be a light for someone else still sitting in the dark. If you've ever come through a time of depression, anxiety, or loss, and found your way back to yourself, I invite you to share it. Someone needs that reflection. Someone is waiting for your voice. And if you don't feel ready to share just yet, that's okay too. Just breathe, soften, and allow yourself to be held in this quiet season of becoming. Trust that the same force that shook your foundations is also the one rebuilding your future. Not all growth happens in the light. Some of the most miraculous transformations begin in the quiet soil of stillness. You are healing, Scorpio. Not because you're trying to fix what's broken, but because you are finally returning to what's whole. After the deep waters of healing, restoration, and soul realignment, there comes a moment, Scorpio, when you are no longer being asked to reflect but to rise. What once felt like an unraveling now reveals itself as preparation. The pieces you thought were scattered were never lost. They were being rearranged by forces greater than your fear, placing you in perfect position for a chapter unlike anything you've ever lived before. And that chapter begins now. The appearance of the magician, the sun, and the world in your spread is no coincidence. This is the final act of your old cycle, and the curtain is rising on a new reality. But here's the truth, the universe can set the stage, offer the script, even light the path, but you, Scorpio, are the one who must step forward. You are not waiting on fate. Fate is waiting on you. The magician speaks to your inner authority, the reminder that you already possess all the tools you need. Not one is missing. Every heartbreak, every lesson, every quiet triumph has prepared you to create from a place of alignment, not desperation. You are not here to beg for what's meant for you. You are here to claim it. The sun brings clarity and joy, but not the fleeting kind. This is radiant, soul-sourced confidence. It's the moment when you stop asking if you're enough and start knowing that you are. It's the warm return of light after walking through so many emotional tunnels. It's not naive happiness, it's earned illumination. And the world, one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana, signifies completion and wholeness. You've come full circle, Scorpio. The pattern has been broken. The door that once felt closed is now wide open. And what you step into next is not just a phase, it's a reality shaped by your choices, your vibration, and your alignment with who you truly are. But walking through that door isn't automatic. It requires intention. So I invite you to take a breath and ask yourself, what am I ready to release, and what am I ready to create? Write down 3 things you are willing to let go of. Whether it's fear, guilt, comparison, or the need for external validation, get honest. Then write 3 things you are ready to birth: courage, clarity, stability, or perhaps a vision that's been tucked away for far too long. This is not a time for perfection. It's a time for participation. Small, soul-led actions matter. You can start by moving your body gently each day. This anchors new energy into form. Use music as medicine. Let silence be your sanctuary. And most of all, limit your access to environments, habits, and people who pull you back into old frequencies. Not because they're wrong, but because you've simply outgrown the version of yourself that needed them. This part of the journey is about reclaiming your narrative. You are not a passive character in someone else's story. You are the author, the architect, and the artist of your own becoming. The cosmos can bring signs, synchronicities, and support, but destiny unfolds through the decisions you make when no one else is watching. So I ask you, with all softness and all sincerity, are you ready to begin again? Not from scratch but from wisdom. Are you ready to write the life your past self only dreamed of? If so, speak it into reality. Comment below, I am the author of my destiny. When you do that, you are not just affirming your power, you're reactivating it. This is your chapter, Scorpio. And the pen has always been in your hands. Scorpio, as we close this sacred space together, I want you to take a moment and breathe in all that you've just received, not just with your mind, but with your soul. You are not the same person who began this journey a few moments ago. Something within you has shifted. Something old has been released. Something divine has been awakened. You are no longer the version of yourself that needed to be rescued. You are the version that remembers you were always the one writing the story. And maybe you forgot for a while. Maybe life pulled you into survival mode. Maybe the pain, the silence, the unanswered prayers made you feel like the universe had overlooked you. But here's the truth, Scorpio, you were never forgotten. You were being prepared. Carefully. Lovingly. Strategically. Every delay, every ending, every closed door, it was all part of a divine redirection that brought you right here, right now, back to yourself. You are a soul protected by the universe, carried through the fire so you could remember your strength. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt in brilliance. You are not waiting for permission. You are reclaiming your power. And every step you take from this moment forward is a sacred act of co-creation with the life that has been calling you all along. You've faced your tower. You've heard the truth of justice. You've opened your heart with the star. You felt love rise through the Ace of Cups and seen the beauty of your becoming reflected in the Magician, the Sun, and the world. Now it's your turn to decide, will you honor this shift? Will you act on the wisdom you've just remembered? Will you trust that good luck is not just coming but waiting for you to say yes? Scorpio, I believe in your ability to step into this new chapter not because of fate alone, but because of your fierce, unshakable spirit. And if deep down, you feel the same, I invite you to write one of these declarations below and anchor it into reality. Say it, type it, breathe it in, I am ready to receive divine surprises. I believe that good fortune is finding me. I open my heart to what God has prepared for me. Because sometimes, transformation begins with a whisper. Sometimes, the universe just needs to know you're listening. And when you affirm your readiness, you activate the forces already moving in your favor. I also want to thank you truly for being here. Your presence is not just seen, it is deeply felt. Every like, every comment, every subscription you offer becomes a ripple of light that helps this channel miracle of the sign reach those who are still searching for hope. And your energy is part of that mission. Your support is sacred. So if this message resonated with you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with another Scorpio who may be walking through their own darkness. You never know whose life you'll touch when you allow your light to shine. You didn't just listen to a video today. You crossed a threshold. And what's waiting for you on the other side is breathtaking. It's healing. It's power. It's purpose. It's you braver, brighter, and infinitely blessed. And now, my final question to you is simple, but powerful. Are you ready to say yes?